Hello Paisanos, it's ES63, and I finally finished playing through Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening, and here's my final send-off farewell review on it. So Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening is a prequel to the entire Devil May Cry series. It talks about the backstory of, Dante himself being a young, reckless, but heartful, caring demon hunter and stuff. And I have a lot of screenshots on Steam to show my gameplay footage, and I also will be using a playthrough and stuff. The special credit goes to BRDETH and stuff for his amazing playthrough on Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening and stuff. And yeah, thank you a lot for this playthrough, man. It was great. But on my review, Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening came after the horrible disaster flop that was Devil May Cry 2. And I don't think people don't realize just how amazing, just a miracle, an absolute breath of fresh air this video game was, seriously. Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening, I'll go that far to say it's honestly one of the best video games of all time I played in my history of me playing video games, honestly. For a game that was after that horrible disaster flop, ironically, we get one of the best masterpieces ever in gaming history. From everything from the fun, stylish, mastery rewarding combat hack and slash gameplay, to the absolute atmospheric and rocking music, to the absolutely phenomenal aesthetics and visuals, and the emotional comedy and serious story that Dante goes through and stuff. Hence, to explain why Dante is always this comedy guy and stuff, because he has to deal with, his mother's death, his loss, and deal with his brother Virgil, and Virgil, who's pretty much going through the same thing as him, but they choose to respond differently. Dante chooses to accept his human side, while Virgil chooses to accept his demon side and stuff, and yeah, they don't really hate each other, they just have opposing ideologies and stuff. But let's go ahead and start. So, this was the footage I took from mission 18 to 20 and stuff. But I'm going to be using this guy's gameplay footage of, basically, this was my gameplay throughout, Devil May Cry 3. The opening was once again great, honestly. And then we get Dante in his office just chilling and stuff. And this is where the fun begins. We hit demons in his, in his office and stuff, which is under construction, but he doesn't name it yet. And then after that, we go up to this tower to fight the Cerberus and stuff. I was playing this on normal mode, so I was dying a lot, but I was able to, finish it and stuff. And then we go through this long, long castle for some reason that feels like the longest of the game. And then we go through this pathetic, weak boss fight. Okay, I don't know why this guy exists, but he exists. And then we deal with this jester clown who has a much more of a personality than Dante. And that pisses Dante so much, because he's the one that needs to be comedy and stuff. But this guy, yeah. And we're still in this castle and stuff. And finally, we make it out of the castle. We first meet Lady and stuff, who has a grudge against us. Well, grudge against demons, not us. And then we go through another staircase and stuff, stairwell and stuff. And then, of course, we fight those two guardian statues and stuff. Headless guys who have swords, and we gain that ability from them, which is, it looks like Kratos' God of War, like, Blades of Olympus weapon and stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to remember, where was it? I was here somewhere. Did I skip them? No, that was the clown fight. It happens after the clown fight and stuff. Oh, okay, here it was. If the video can load. These were basically these were the hardest at first, but I was able to defeat them, and they gave the best weapon, honestly. For a hard fight and great weapon, I think that's a fair deal. And then finally, we go through the first fight of Virgil himself. And I really like how menacing, Virgil is, honestly. And also the character who is helping Virgil and stuff, but betrays him, is Lady's father and stuff, which is what her name, but I think her name was Mary, or Lady, I don't know. And then, obviously, she's pretty rude and stuff. And then we just move on without her. And after, this fight with Virgil, we go through an absolute disgusting, that feels like a Metroid level, ironically. And then we fight whatever this beast was and stuff. Oh, yeah, I should have mentioned about that awesome, badass cutscene where Dante just gets up, and then he just goes down, and then just is like a fireball. And, yeah, that's just so damn badass and hype. And then we go through another castle here and stuff. And then we fight, these spiders. I don't like spiders. And then we fight this bat lady and stuff. and get a new weapon from her, which is an electric guitar and stuff. And then this is where they betray each other, and yeah. And then we go through this water lake and stuff, and then we deal with Lady again. And that's not going to be it, so yeah. We're still in this castle, and this is where it's about to get intense. Oh yeah, we deal with this clown guy again, and this is where we enter our demon form and stuff, and that's what Dante looks like. I can see why he's been hiding this, because this looks even hype. And then we deal with this jokester again, who's getting on our nerves and stuff. Who has a bubble for some reason, I don't know why. And then, oh yeah, we fight this, what was his name again? This is another boss fight. Beowulf, who complains about our odor. I have no clue why does he do that, but yeah. But anyways, and now we fight Virgil, I believe, again. With that famous, why isn't this working? And stuff like that. Sorry about that. And then, yeah, here's Virgil. And yeah, he was really fun to fight here and stuff. And here we go with the whole family drama, my favorite. Yeah. And then Virgil falls down, and yeah. and then obviously, you know, the father of Lady, you know, is about to get the son of Sparta power. And yeah. So I'm going to, I'm not going to end it here, though, because there's still the Lady fight we still have to do. But yeah, then we go through, obviously, we have to climb up this tower, go through some gauntlet of enemies and stuff of this castle. And then we reach to that portal, but first we must have to fight Lady to get through it. And here's Lady, and then we obviously finally go from haters to lovers. Well, no, okay, no, not lovers, but just friends, sorry, to friends. And then finally, we go up beyond to this, whatever this realm is or something, I have no clue, and stuff. And yeah, and we fight through our shadow doppelganger and gain a new ability from him and stuff. And here's the White Castle. This kind of looks like that one level from Spark the Electro Jester 3 that ironically had this white aesthetic also. I think Spark 3 might have been inspired by this. But yeah, but anyways, I'm going to stop with this video now and stuff because that's it for now and stuff. I know I'm spoiling this to the credits, but now I want to play through my footage and stuff, my screenshots, and yeah. So, here are my screenshots and stuff, and here was, you know, state mission 19 and stuff, where I get on, oh yeah, this part right here, this second badass part where Dante gets on a damn motorcycle and breaks it apart. I know he's supposed to be cocky and stuff, but man, that's just next level hype, honestly. And here was mission 19 against Arkham, and holy hell, man, this Arkham guy was such a freaking pain, man, but I finally defeated him and beat his ass up. Holy hell, man, Jesus Christ. I can now understand what the DMC community was warning me about. And then Lady kills Arkham, thank goodness, and I think her name was Mary or something. And finally, the final stage, mission 20. And I'm going to be honest with you, I actually liked fighting Virgil 3. I think Virgil 3, the final send-off farewell Virgil boss fight, was honestly amazing. It was hard, I was getting my ass kicked, but in a good, fun way. It really felt like it was still my fault for not, you know, having not to, you know, pay attention to the sound cues or the visual cues and stuff. So the Virgil boss fight was a very well done, challenging boss fight with well done difficulty balancing and honestly amazing pacing that really respects your time, honestly. As Virgil once say, might is everything. Might controls everything. Sorry if I misquote that line. But yeah. And that's basically it. We have this ending emotional cutscene where the brothers have one final fight, and then Virgil just decides to go down to his demon world and stuff, and, you know, just cuts Dante's hand. Dante just feels furious and emotional and sad and stuff, but he goes back to the human world and protecting humans and stuff, and yeah. And we have one last final badass scene with Dante and Lady, and they shoot a bunch of demons, and that's Devil May Cry 3, Dante's Awakening and stuff, and yeah. So yeah, and that's overall my footage of Devil May Cry 3, Dante's Awakening with screenshots and stuff, and yeah. So overall, this is definitely will go down as one of the best games of all time, honestly, in the history of video games and stuff. First, I want to uninstall the collection now, and yeah. I honestly think this was an absolute lifesaver of a video game after that garbage DMC2, and yeah. But anyways, guys, this was my review. Overall, Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening is one of the best video games ever in the history of video games. Gorgeous, phenomenal graphics, amazing rocky atmospheric music and soundtrack, a well done emotional story that really understands why Dante is so cocky, comedy and stuff because of his trauma and stuff. But unlike Virgil, who lets it define him, he doesn't let this define him and keeps going and stuff. And the gameplay stylus, hack and slash gameplay combat was just peak, man. Seriously, amazing pacing, so fun to master, and just overall just a great grand old time, honestly. So yeah. Thank you, Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening, for the amazing 10 out of 10 adventure you gave me. And yes, I believe this is a perfect game, honestly. Maybe the second boss fight might be bad and stuff, but other than that, though, the boss fights, the stages, everything, the worlds were amazing and stuff. So yeah, Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening gets a perfect 10 out of 10 score from me. So yeah, this is Ian63 saying one final goodbye and farewell, Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening. And thank you guys so much for watching my review on Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening. This is Ian63 saying farewell.